And I'd like to invite Tony Rush and Russell Symes to speak to the Council on behalf of the Christchurch Hearing Support and Hearing New Zealand regarding the Silent Leadership Challenge. And I think councillors have been asked to adopt a particular approach. Tony, would you like us to put these on now?
Just a moment.
Okay.
We'll tell you. Thank you, Russell.
Madam Mayor, Councillors, thank you for inviting us here today. We appreciate.
Can we press the button? Sorry.
Oh,
it's not a good start for hearing me.
Right, sorry, I turned it off, not on. Madam Mayor, Councillors, thank you for inviting us here today to make this presentation about hearing loss. To us, it's a very important topic, and to introduce ourselves, I'm Russell Symes, the President of Christchurch Hearing Support, and Tony on my right here is on our board, but more importantly, he is also the President of Hearing New Zealand, which is all the organisations amalgamated together. I can't talk for long, unfortunately, probably just as well, so I'll pass you over to Tony to make the presentation, and thank you very much for listening.
Thank you, Your Worship, Councillors, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Tony Rush, and I have a hearing problem. That sounds like an AA start, doesn't it? Can I ask you to put your hearing aids on now, please?
Hearing aids?
Sorry, muffs. Yeah.
I've got a big head, obviously.
I'm sorry, what was that? No, don't worry about that. It's not important. 5 most difficult words for people who have a loss of hearing. If it's important enough for you to tell me in the first place, it's important enough for you to say it a second time so I can actually understand it. Is that important in a greater scheme of things? 63,000 of your ratepayers and citizens in Christchurch suffer from some degree of hearing loss. And nearly half of that was preventable. Half of that is treatable with hearing aids, some of it is not. But one thing is sure, the moment you lose some of your hearing, you never get it back. People with hearing loss suffer from social isolation. They suffer from a lack of the ability to participate fully in what's going on around them. Yet it's hard not to lift it up so you can hear better, isn't it? And the lack of understanding is probably the biggest barrier. Our family don't understand it. Dad, are you wearing your hearing aids? No, you weren't looking at me as you were talking. The general public don't understand it. You go into a shop and people look at you as if you're dumb because they don't understand hearing loss. So that's the aim of the Silent Leadership Challenge, to try and get across to the wider public something of the scale of the problem and something of the attitudinal changes that, if they were made, would be hugely beneficial to us with hearing loss. 63,000 of your fellow citizens suffer from hearing loss. And the percentage is going up. It used to be the worst cause for noise-induced hearing loss was industrial, at work. Today it's probably because of the music in the earphones going directly into the ears and doing enormous damage that you don't notice at the time. So actually, you're already taking part in the Silent Leadership Challenge. Basically what we do is ask business leaders, community leaders to take part in this by undertaking 10 minutes of wearing earmuffs in a meeting, 10 minutes of wearing earmuffs in a social situation like a cafe. God, I hated cafes before I got my hearing aids. 10 minutes watching television, 10 minutes one-on-one. So you already went up. What I hope you'll do, ladies and gentlemen, councillors, is when you go home tonight, dig out from your cubby holes or wherever you keep them, the ear protectors you should have at home, and wear them for 10 minutes while you're watching TV, or 10 minutes around the dinner table, so you can get a feel for what it is like to have substantial hearing loss. Thank you for taking part. Thank you for sitting there looking rather bemused and baffled with your hearing muffs on. It's quite fun. Thank you also. I understand that there's been a raffle going around the 6th floor to raise funds for the Christchurch Hearing Support, and that's raised around $320. I really thank you for that. So that's it from me. I hope I've given you a taste. You can take them off now. And I'm happy to answer any questions.
I'm actually really glad that you ended by a statement after we'd taken these off, because I mean, all of the ambient sound's gone when you've got this around, and actually I found it quite compelling to really focus on you and what you were saying, and that's an incredible reminder, because we do say things without looking at people, we do say things without engaging people, and as you say, the worst thing to do would be to say, oh, never mind, and not repeat what you've said. That must be terribly debilitating.
It is, really is, yes.
Councillor East.
Thank you. Look, I'd just like to thank you for your presentation, and as one who suffered some industrial hearing loss and currently wears hearing aids, I thought your presentation was excellent and does amplify some of the issues that those of us who have suffered some hearing damage hear. Even in this council chamber, supposedly there is a hearing loop, but I don't think it's working that well. Some of you around the table speak quite quietly, and I think as a consequence of my hearing damage, I speak a little softly at times and don't really appreciate it. So there are a lot of side effects and conditions that go along with hearing loss, and I thank you for your amplifying them here today, and wish you and your organisation all the best in promoting health awareness, hearing awareness. Thank you.
I've just finished 9 years as a councillor at a district council in the North Island. I'm a new South Islander, a new mainland. It's wonderful. And that's how I became involved with the Hearing Association, because my mayor in my first year said, the Hearing Association's got an AGM, can you represent me? You're the only deaf, and I think he thought dumb, councillor that we've got. But I know what it's like around a council table, and I sympathise.
If I could say just a quick word, you say your loop system doesn't work very well. I find it excellent, because I've got to be honest, or I can't hear any of you speaking, because I'm severely deaf now over the last 20 years. With the loop system, without that, I'd be totally in the dark. And I still hear you, but not terrifically well, but clearly. And believe me, this sort of thing is essential in all public buildings.
Yes, and we are going to upgrade the loop system as well. It's really important that everyone is able to hear. Aaron and then Yanni.
Yeah, so I just want to ask a question around a subject of mine I like to bring up as many times as possible. In the disability sector, there's an issue with people with disabilities are paid a third less than the rest of society on average. Is that the same with the deaf community?
Probably. There has been considerable research on the economic cost of loss of hearing, and if you want to read that, it's a document called, help me?
Hearing.
You'll find it in the National Foundation for the Deaf website, and that's a very good measure of the very real cost and loss, financially, economically, of loss of hearing.
We'll get the link and circulate that to councillors. Yanni.
Thank you. Thank you for coming in today. And I just had a question. You've talked a lot about individuals and the silent leadership challenge and businesses, but in terms of council, we've got a huge social housing portfolio. Is there anything that you think we should be looking at in terms of domestic housing that could improve the issues around hearing loss?
That's a hard one to answer. Can I get back to you on that? Yeah. Because it's probably difficult to imagine a situation of putting a hearing loop in a rental house. Certainly there are assistive devices that people can use, but normally they're thought of as belonging to the individual rather than the house. I don't really have a quick answer for you.
If there's something comes up, just come back to us.
Yep.
If I could just say a word on that, the only way the council could really help people with a hearing loss in your housing is to ensure that they have soft floor coverings, soft drapes, and not hard reflective surfaces, because those soft materials absorb sound. Whereas ones like in here, you've got absorbing tiles on the roof, which is great, but the hard floor, the hard walls, all make it echoey and very hard to hear. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Look, thank you very much for coming in, and thank you for presenting us with a challenge, and good luck with the rest of the campaign. I think it's extremely worthwhile, and I'm glad that our council's been able to play a role in kick-starting the attention that I hope that your campaign brings to the rest of the country.
Thank you. And unfortunately we can't let you keep the hearing aids, but there is a little hearing muffs, but there is a handout for you. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Right, the next public participation is Chris Thompson from Ashbeck, presenting on recyclable coffee cups. What's it going to do? Right. Got your presentation there, so you can just click each mouse or just do the enter. Yeah. Oh, sorry. I'm trying to do more than one thing at a time. Please, far away.
Okay, thank you very much. This is a bit like a show and tell, isn't it? So, thank you for the opportunity to speak. My name is Chris Thompson. I'm the Managing Director of Ashbeck Trading and EnviroCare, which is a trade name we own. We are located at 12 Phillip Street, Phillipstown here in Christchurch. We have a total staff of 10 and distribute to all of New Zealand. Next January, Ashbeck Trading will be celebrating 18 years in business. Ashbeck was the first company to bring bio-packaging into the South Island, and almost 10 years to the day. Now as it was then, the vast majority of bio-packaging in Christchurch ends up in the landfill. I want this to change. At the moment, there is a lot of noise concerning single-use plastic bags and disposable coffee cups. We have an amazing opportunity to make a difference to the environment, but without the help of councils such as yourselves, this is very hard to do so. I'm here today to introduce to you, Christchurch City Council, the future of packaging. I'm also asking you for your help to ban polystyrene. A growing number of cities and countries around the world are banning foam. Even in Asia, where foam containers are manufactured, they are banned, yet we permit it here. We have an extensive range that has been made and designed to be composted, which would be well suited for all applications such as cafes, supermarkets, restaurants and council-run events. Yet the public constantly asks us, where can this product go to be composted? And we have to tell them, do it yourself or put it in the red bin. I feel our range is better and very cost effective. Not only this, but it has been approved by Assure Quality as is suitable for organic composting feedstock. This range would also eliminate the need for sorting, a very time-consuming process. We fully understand that to make this happen, there has to be some strict rules in place, otherwise this would contaminate composting down the line, but in a closed loop environment is what they're called, such as council events, this would be the way to go. You'll currently see on your desk in front of you, you'll see a coffee cup and a lid. That lid there is the world's first domestically compostable lid. We've actually taken a long time to develop it. That there will compost in a domestic compost in 3 weeks and disappear. I noticed that a lot of the councillors here to date and people are drinking out of coffee cups with plastic lids. By simply asking your cafe to remove that plastic lid and use that lid there, you will remove 15 times the amount of plastic that is actually in a cup just by removing that lid. I was hoping today here to have for you an example of something that is actually even better again. I've only got a couple here, but this is something that we're developing. This is potentially another world first. It is a coffee cup made out of entirely the same material as the lid that has no plastic or Pele lining inside of it, and again that will compost in 3 weeks in a domestic compost bin. I've got examples here of polystyrene food containers that is currently getting used but goes to the dump. I've also got some examples of what we would actually have as a replacement fully compostable packaging that has been approved by Assure Quality. Even your lunch that you're about to eat here today, we supply that to Fully Lunchbox. These guys are doing an amazing job. And even for those guys, it's like end of use. Where does that end up? I've got a brief presentation here. Excuse the roughness of it, but it's just, this is the first time for me. Just skipping through here so people can see. So again, EnviroCare is a brand that we've created. Is this going to work? Oh my God. Help. seamless, isn't it? Ah, cool. So this was a media release that we did. Basically, it's just a mugshot of me, but was that past that? That one?
No, one there, page down.
That one? Okay, sorry. That's me. Oh yeah, okay. So this is an example of compostable food packaging in action. More products of it. This is our range. The lids that you see on there are, however, PET plastic, which is highly recyclable. There is a problem with packaging out there at the moment, and it looks like that there, and is made of a product called PLA. It is an incredibly unstable product, and there's nowhere in New Zealand that can actually compost it. So it goes to landfill. So this is the change. There's no reason why that people and events can't use this here. And there is, last but not least, our coffee cup. So there's my presentation. We're looking for change. We're looking for help from the council to actually stop the stuff here.
Right. Okay. Well, look, we've reached our 5 minutes, but I guess that part of the reason for having you come in this morning is to ask council staff to undertake some work on this as a proposal. I mean, obviously, you know, I mean, you picked it up, you know, been downstairs getting a cup of coffee, so, and how much less plastic did you say? 15?
15 times what the other one is.
15 times, not
15 times what is in a cup.
Right.
It's horrendous.
All right, so so I think that we should ask, sort of formalise a quick resolution, eh?
Would you like to refer this to the committee?
That's right. Would you like it at your committee?
I think also to get a report from events people. Sorry, I haven't got the speaker on, Dave. To our events people to see if this would be.
Okay.
Remember the presentation?
Sustainable. I'll move that we refer this matter to the Innovation and Sustainability Committee, and to ask them to report back with consideration of events as well as
and ask the events people for a report on whether this could be
but it's also in-house use within the council's
facilities.
So I'm moving. I'll move that, and would you like to second it, Vicky?
Fine. Yep.
Right. Hang on. Sorry, I wasn't expecting a debater on it.
No, it's just a quick.
Glenn.
Oh no, just information that Joint Waste Committee could be a possible funding avenue, but I'm just trying to find out the.
Yeah, look, we're referring it to a committee, so there's no need for questions or comments on that. We're referring it to the committee. So.
I understand that, but you made comment about what it would include, and I just wanted to make sure that it will include our procurement policy as well.
What's a report on what options there might be?
Including procurement and leasing?
It's just referring it to the committee under the standing orders, so we're just referring it to the committee.
We got a very good presentation from our events team who are doing a great job, so I think to wait for that to come to the committee before we start putting our oar and other things if you don't understand it.
Yep. Good. So so it's been moved that it be referred to the Innovation and Sustainability Committee for consideration, and we'll just leave it at that. Leave out the rest, because it's actually not standing orders. Yep, full stop. All right, that's been moved by me, seconded by Vicky Buck. I'll put that motion. All those in favour say aye. Those opposed say no. That's carried. Right.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Okay, deputations by appointment. There are none.